Hey guys, Jarrett from Jarrett Photography here, and I just want to show you a cool little camera in my collection. Now last year I kind of got into film photography a little bit more than I have in the past, so I decided to maybe find a few cameras that were kind of historic, something that had a lot of history to it, but still was very, very useful. One of the cameras that I happened to find was this little guy, a Kodak Retina. As you can see right here on the back, it says Retina. This is a 2A, a Retina 2A. It says Ellsworth across the top of it, but I think that may be etched in there by the previous owner. Not really sure. Looks really cool. I'm glad that it has that. I'm curious about that now. But as you can see, there's no lens. There's actually isn't a cap. This is a door. So you have to hit the button right here on the bottom. It pops open the door. When you pull it, lens comes forward. This is a 50mm f2, which is actually pretty fast for this little camera. I think the thing I like about this camera so much is that it's all mechanical. There's not a meter, there's no battery, there's nothing to really go wrong other than mechanical, and this thing's pretty solid. This thing's a tank. I mean, I wouldn't take it out in the middle of nowhere and start shooting and just hope everything turned out okay, but for a walk-around camera or maybe an alternative street camera, something I can keep in my backpack, this is a really cool little guy. Because it is an f2, I have actually Ektar 100 in here, so I have a slow film, but I think it's going to work out pretty well, especially with the shallow depth of field of the f2, because I wanted to use it as wide open as possible, as much as I could. Like I said, this doesn't have a meter, so I've been using my iPhone, which has a really good evaluative meter, which is pretty... I actually tested it against my Mamiya 645 numerous times, and it was really darn close. So I decided to just keep it there and then kind of eyeball it from there. If I thought it was going to be somewhat dark because if it was a bright situation, I wanted to get more out of the shadows, I'd just slow the shutter speed down a little bit. There's no exposure compensation because, again, there's not a meter, so everything you pretty much do by hand. The focus on this camera is done by a tab, which is right here on the front. This is infinity focus all the way down, and then close focus is all the way up, which you'll see right here. It doesn't have a very long throw, but it's a little stiff on this model at least. But as close as it gets somewhere around 3.5 feet or just over a meter for those on the metric system. But on the front, it also gives you your aperture and shutter speed all right here in the lens contraption. On the bottom right here, there is a little arrow which gives you your aperture value. It goes from f2 to 2, 8, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11, and 16. So it has all the normal f-stop values that everyone's pretty much familiar with. On the top, you have your winder, which I will show you right now. It pulls all the way out, slips back, just like normal. I do like that it has a little bit more of a range to it. It feels like a rangefinder, which is because it is. I wish I had a little bit more grip on this side because I feel like I'm always kind of like holding it like I'm going to drop it. But it doesn't really bother me all that much. It is a rangefinder, so you have your range finder viewfinder here on the back. On the top, it gives you, this is your rewind knob, but it also lets you remember which film is inside of it, which I think is a pretty cool thing. It has all the old Kodak films, Pan X, Plus X, Super XX, Infrared, Kodachrome Daylight, Kodachrome A. I think that's a really neat little piece that you can just flip it up and change to remind yourself of which film is in here. Again, like I said, everything is on the front of the camera, so you have your shutter speed across the top. It goes, the fastest is 1/500th of a second, which is pretty impressive for a camera that works this slow. But it also has a bulb setting and a 1 second, 2 second, I'm sorry, 1 second, half a second, 1/5 of a second, 1/10 of a second, all the way up again to 1/500th. But I really like that this thing can go down to 1 second because I've tested it a few times. It has a really, really good timer on it. You just hit it, click, you hear the timer going on the inside, and then you hear the shutter close. Very, very well made little machine. I bought this from Southeastern Camera in Wilmington, North Carolina. Really good guys in there. They assured me that everything worked perfectly, and I'm really looking forward to finishing off this roll of film so I can see the results of what I've been making with it. Now, the last thing I want to say about this camera is how quiet it is. It's very, very quiet. Okay, so I'm going to take a photo of the camera that's videoing me so you can hear how silent this thing really is. Okay, so I am in focus. I'm at 1/50th of a second. Let's see what this thing sounds like. That's it. This thing is, it's so stinking quiet. The unlock sound on my iPhone is louder than this thing. So this is a really good little stealth camera, and I'm really excited about doing more street photography with it. So this is going to be with me a good bit. It's small, it's pocketable, it'll fit inside my hoodie pocket, so I can carry it around with me and not have to have it on a strap like my digital camera, or a larger body like my Nikon FG or something like that. But very, very cool little camera. And just to close it up, there's a button on the top and the bottom. You just hit those at the same time. Make sure that it's in infinity focus. Close that bad boy up, and that is it. It is so stinking small. I'm really, really impressed by it, and I'm looking forward to finishing them off so I can show you guys the pictures. If you're looking for a vintage camera, you can pick one of these up for about $100 on eBay or at a local camera shop. Like I said, Southeastern Camera, they had 2 or 3 of these things. A couple of them were modded to be like crazy colors and stuff, but this little guy right here is just in great condition. I'm really looking forward to the pictures I can get with it. And if you're looking for something that's just meat and potatoes, nothing special, but just takes great photos, I would definitely suggest picking up a Kodak Retina. If you'd like to see some of my work, you can do so on my website, which is listed in the description below, along with all my social media contacts. That way you can keep up with me and see what I'm doing from day to day. If you'd like to see more about the gear that I use and the work that I make with it, be sure to subscribe to this channel. That way you can see all the great content that I'm putting out week to week. Thanks so much for watching, guys. JarrettHucks.com.